All right, everybody, let's get going. Welcome to the Daily Crossing, episode 43.
Oh man,
Right,
We ain't up
nothing.
there.
We're not going to the sky. No universal. No
Nothing
universe.
special about
Nothing
43.
special about 43.
except it's the new episode. That's
That's
what's special.
it. That's what
Yes.
makes it special, guys. We're gonna cover a number of things right now. There are definitely important to have for different reasons. Not only politics, but also going back to what's going on with the economy. As you know, there has been a $1.8 billion lawsuit that the National Association of Realtors and some specific companies ended up losing. It's an arguable, questionable position about how commissions should be paid out. We're going to talk about that for a few minutes. And the former chief of FTX, Sam Bankman, guy for the first time. Right now, what was the name of this man who, for many years, Bernie Madoff, who was, Bernie Madoff was the largest losses Pansy scheme there was, and it was over $1 billion. You know what I mean? So we're talking about a guy who was able to raise $26 billion. This is going to be the largest. Obviously, the charges are he was found guilty.
Yeah.
For misappropriation, embezzling billions.
How do you
How do we talk about this?
$26 billion dollars?
Of dollars, you know what I mean? So
It's digital. So
the other interesting thing going on right now is like a topic. I don't even know how serious people like what are they trying to say when they're saying that the Speaker of the House right now, a new Speaker of the House, right, Mike Johnson, they making a big deal about the fact that the guy is paycheck to paycheck and he's essentially sleeping in his office, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't have the money to rent a facility. By the way, DC is one of the most expensive
Really
places
is,
to
yeah.
rent just because you have so many politicians. Rent out there is black voters literally saying in the Milkwaukee area, we're not feeling it. We're not feeling what's going on with Democrats. They're not happy with the president. And a lot of people voicing their opinion about going somewhere else. As far as obviously we got to talk about what's going on in Israel and Gaza. Hezbollah is praising Hamas terror attack, which that just triggered a reaction from Netanyahu saying we're not going anywhere. This is not going to end until we decide that we cleaned up everything and everyone. Here's a little interesting dilemma, though, a little curveball that was thrown into the whole situation. Russia. And I guess it's payback because Israel supported reluctantly. Israel was very almost passively making statements, almost with the desire to not anger that many people when it came to the war between Ukraine and Russia. And it was under pressure from the international community that they got Israel to send some weapons support to Ukraine. So our good friend Vladimir Putin way of saying that, all right, well, you did that. Here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to back Hamas. That's a big deal. That's a big deal because it's not just moral support. They can very much send weapons.
yeah.
They can just destabilize the situation a lot more. And it says, and it went as far as to make the statement that an occupying power doesn't have the right to self-defense. Isn't he trying to occupy
Right.
Ukraine right there? How do we go into this crazy conversation with politicians? They can actually say, but that's his position. All I'm telling you is that, guys, that puts us very close to, a path for World War III. Like at this point, we gotta really be very careful with what's actually happening out there. This is not even including China. Well, I'm still waiting to see what is the move that's gonna come out when it comes to Taiwan. And the final thing is just, again, listen, the whole conversation about immigration concerns that everybody has. A Jordanian national that is in Texas illegally is accused of, searching and studying for material on how to build bombs to target Jews. And that must be like part of the, what is this? That's his research. He's going into Google to say,
Search history.
how do you find bombs that kill Jews? And very specific
That's not funny, but
That's very stupid. Like it's just unbelievable. But listen, man, I mean, let's just even knock that out of the way for a 2nd because I don't want to see it just from the whole anti-Semitic and the many things that are going on right now, guys. Here you have a situation where our border
yeah.
that
It's
is
wide
wide
open.
open, right, is allowing individuals like this. Well, guess what? You know what I mean? Eventually, he'll go from, all right, maybe not just Jews. How about we include some additional Americans? We can
Christians.
we can move on to just white people in general. And then
Yeah.
from, especially white people, there are Christians. And then, you know what? Christians in general. You know, I don't care if you're white or if you're black. What if you're, like, this is essentially what the FBI was saying the other day. We are going to have a problem. And a very high risk. So
What is it? 2 million people are crossing the border that we know of illegally.
the number for
A
this
month?
year actually is no, it's not. It's not all the way up to 2 million. No, not per month. This year we're gonna have close to 5 million people.
5 million
Five
For the
million
year.
people
for the year.
that had been detected,
Got it.
That's
captured,
what I mean.
So probably
volunteer,
is a million.
offer. But
by
there
your
is a couple of million
guesstimation,
yeah,
the ones that were like,
yeah, a
don't
couple,
wanna get
couple of more million.
okay, so you
Easy.
can safely say that it's like 7 to 8 million.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think the ones that were reported is like this guy, or more the ones that were
Well,
caught?
but
You know what I mean?
169 people, they are part of already of a terror list. Because you just think about the fact there are people that are already officially registered somewhere. That's 169.
Mm.
Now, not everybody, unfortunately, is walking around with a sign on their forehead saying,
Right.
"Hey, I'm the next guy online,"
yes,
right?
yes,
And
yes.
that's an issue. That's a significant issue. So we don't know what's going to happen here. We don't know how many people are already here. We're already, but FBI and everybody, is literally saying you have to get ready. Something bad can potentially happen.
That's
So
super scary. It's like playing hide and seek without knowing.
you don't know
that you
what
were
the
playing.
heck is going to happen.
Yeah.
But I will tell you though, this whole situation with I'm not surprised about Hezbollah jumping in, and I mean they right now they're attacking from the north. They making it very clear that they're gonna make it a lot more difficult. They're gonna put people on the ground. They're gonna be bombing Israel. They're gonna be doing whatever they need to do, to the point that don't be surprised. I mean they got to be very careful because they are not in a bad position as a group who has been able to suppress, Lebanon at some point was labeled the Paris of the Middle East. That's how beautiful the place is. You know what I mean? And so these guys come in, take control of the whole facility,
Yeah.
and then at the end, again, extreme, ultra orthodox branch of Islam. So that Muslim environment has triggered, again, that position from Islam has triggered a lot of issues with these guys.
Gotcha.
And so, but Russia jumping in, making a statement, that's,
Yeah, but do we know if they're gonna actually do that, or are they just saying something right now?
well, I mean, as a president, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
This is a
that's
guy
true.
that makes statements that when he does,
That's true. You gotta pay
you know what I
attention.
mean? You gotta pay attention.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
gotta
true.
pay attention.
Yeah.
This
So
is-
I feel like all these different things, it's weird because I don't know. Have you ever seen this movie Minority Report?
yes.
Right. So I don't know if it's enough because somebody like has an intention of doing something. If you can like say no, that's already too far. Like because even the individual who's studying how to build bombs specifically for Jews, right? Like, is that enough to be a problem? I don't know. I'm not sure. And I think the easy answer would be like, yes. You shouldn't even be looking it up. Why are you even thinking like this? What's wrong with you?
The
But
psychological
can you be,
effect. The psychological effect of knowing that the second power, nuclear power, with the largest stockpile, next to the United States, makes a statement where they're gonna back your
Yeah.
enemy, the one that you're fighting with right now.
Yeah, that just props them up.
That,
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
know what I mean? So as to whether or not they have the ability to because if they actually make a move to say we are going to bring weapons and we're going to provide the weapons just to be able to make it to that side of the planet, that means that whatever vessels they use that would be under attack, whatever planes that are going to be under attack, whatever. So that means that next thing you know, Israel is at war with Russia. and that means that we are in World War III.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, this is definitely not one of those things. This is again, when you're talking about the worst side of diplomacy going wrong. This is diplomacy going wrong, essentially. This is not being able to get a handle of the situation that we have going on with Russia. And guys, Russia always made it his business to be separated from the West. They don't want to. It's almost as if they consider
They want to have
themselves
their own little
something
island.
different,
Yeah.
special, and not as special. But you should consider yourself special. You know what I mean? But almost as to say, we're not the East, we're not the West.
We're just Russian.
We have something different
Yeah.
that we bring to the table with a different perspective. So, in that hesitation to integrate it, obviously, all the animosity that comes along, but from the time that Vladimir Putin took over Russia, up until the moment that this happened with Ukraine, I mean, this is a country that was really coming up and positioning themselves as not just as a nuclear superpower again, because those things were never removed. That,
Yeah.
to me, that was a gigantic mistake. You know what I mean? We removed the nuclear weapons from Ukraine, but not from Russia, right? And so every single one of the warheads that were left there now can be pointed at us. They can be pointed at, you know what I mean, Israel. They can be pointed at. So, but financially, meaning when you look at their economy and how they were moving forward and making some significant choices that were good choices, you know, it's very painful to see that the whole thing is crumbling apart, and that creates that kind of resentment where he knows that to make a statement like that
Yeah.
doesn't help, destabilizes the situation, puts a lot more, puts everybody on notice, and so it could be a little bit of a gamingship going on there.
I get you.
But at the same time, we can't take that lightly. That's
No,
what
I
I'm
get
saying,
it.
all right?
I get it.
it's
Yeah,
just-
yeah, definitely.
So-
Pay
so-
attention to it. Yeah.
So-
What about? Do you feel the same way about the illegal person living in Texas shit? Is that something that we're like? Is it enough of a problem to where like somebody needs to step in and
For us to say that we are due for another 9/11 type of situation, or
no, I'm just saying. So for
You're
example,
saying for him to be like go to jail or something?
yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think you have enough of a.
But you're just paying attention to it.
Yeah, it's like if this guy gets even close to.
well,
What is that little white powder thing that like makes bubbles?
here-
Like, it's like
here's the difference.
Yeah.
You know, you're not here legally.
Which is already
That's already a
yeah,
problem.
Yeah.
yeah.
You are doing things like this,
So he should just be
which is
thrown out of the
illegal, potentially criminal.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't understand why at this very moment.
country. He's not on a plane back to
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah, because whatever game we are playing right now this is the ultimate game of Russian roulette.
Yeah.
I mean, we
That's
are
true.
playing.
Yeah.
We are playing with fire, and whatever sensitivity is applied to. Listen, all I'm saying is if 9/11 had 19, 20 Mexicans that jumped on planes and did what they did, every time somebody orders a taco, I'm gonna be a little suspicious, right? Like I would have been okay if your name is Jose and they putting you against the wall. So I don't understand this whole sensitivity about, you know what I mean? Well, just because the person is Muslim, yeah, you guys like blowing shit up. You know, just because the
I
person
mean,
is
Biden
later-
just deployed this
and
whole
by the way, it's not just a question of
anti-Islamophobia.
being Muslim, because there is a lot of people right now who follow that faith, who truly believe that the faith is a religion of peace. I don't know where they find that evidence to support it, because from the creation to where we are at this very moment, the reality, the facts, it speaks against that. You know what I mean? So how do they come to that conclusion? But the fear that we have, listen, and my point is, we had millions of people crossing over from Mexico, from Central America, nobody's searching, you know what I mean? As a worst case scenario, they are searching for the nearest taco restaurant where I can go to and get some tacos. That's the extremes search that these
I get you.
individuals
I
are
get
going to
you.
be doing. So it is a problem for us to be playing with these things, taking it lightly. We got to make sure that we speak it up, that we step it up. I don't know, man. You know what I mean? All
No,
I'm saying
like I
is
said,
if
I
we don't,
get
if we don't
it.
get a handle
Yeah.
of the, because this is an issue with immigration, and this is also an issue with. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why Israel was so successful
Yeah.
was they do profiling. When you at the airport, they looking at everything that would trigger
I
the
get you.
behavior
Yeah.
of somebody they can put. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, and so you think that just by putting a body scanner somewhere is going to be enough to deterrent. And it's not a simple issue, you know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
complicated conversation, but
No, I get
but
it.
not doing anything about it
Yeah.
and pretending that we are doing something about it,
Yeah.
it's not a good thing.
No, I get it. And it's like I said, it's something I think we should definitely pay attention to. I'm just always cautious of when, obviously it's not us right now, but then I don't want it to lead to a situation to where they're like, because of this person who was an illegal immigrant from Jordan, they were searching. Now they have the right to start throwing people in jail just because you're searching something. Which that, like, how do you even prove that I was the one who was searching it? Like, to me, it's just I'm just always cautious of what is it? Homeland Security deciding, we got to make rules
Correct.
for Americans now because of something that had nothing to do with an American in the first place. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just always looking at it from that perspective, you know. But yes, we got to pay attention. We got to
100%. All I'm saying is, obviously, you know, you want to protect civil liberties to the best of your ability.
Yeah,
But once you have enough information,
Right.
yeah,
once you have enough information, you know what I mean? You got to act, because all failure to act means that you're putting your own citizens at risk. And then when something happens and you have the ability to do something and you chose not to do it,
Yeah.
then it's on us for not saying or doing absolutely anything. For me, my concern is, again, we still don't have a clear plan on how we're going to improve the situation on the border. It's very clear. Everybody's sounding the alarm. Anybody as law enforcement, FBI, ICE, everybody's saying, guys, it's just a matter of time before we run into the situation. There's no getting around it. But what are we doing that sounds like, is there anybody that came up? Here are the top 10 things that we're going to be doing from now until the end of the year. The migration is going to happen from now until the end of the year. It could be one of the largest. There's a caravan coming down right now
yeah.
that is one of the largest. Again, you know what I mean? As a matter of fact, we're going to see if we can keep an eye on how that's developing. What are we doing? What is their expectation coming down right now? Literally, coming with banners saying, we want work permits right now. Perfect English, by the way. I'm like, man, it took me 3 years and I still can't speak it. You know what I mean? I'm still sound the way I sound. So anyway, listen. These things are happening at an international level. They have the capability to affect us. Our relationship with Israel, the same way that Israel is hated for the relationship that they had with us, we are also hated for the relationship that we had with them.
So that makes sense.
And we got to take this very, very seriously.
Got it.
I hate the fact, I'm going to tell you why I hate the fact that Vladimir Putin decided to make this choice. He knows better. He knows better, and for many
Well, he
years.
knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
It's
such
kind of
a
like,
such a bad
Yeah, that's
game
on
to
purpose.
play because again, I will argue.
what does he lose?
I will argue his own legacy. His own legacy, and I'm actually surprised that he's just willing to.
What does he
He
gain?
threw that at just chaos. Just the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
What do you mean by his legacy?
This is a guy that arguably, before what was taking place with Ukraine, was one of the most reasonable voices out there. He's saying the stuff that's going on with the United States doesn't make any sense right now. From racism to the whole transgender conversation, like it's nonsense. It's like two genders. That's it. Don't come play that game here with us. And so, like that was a reasonable voice at the highest level. That was actually saying things, who's saying this guy is making, and then you went from taking a country that was only 13% believer all the way up to 78% faithful, literally found. That's not a bad thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For when you're thinking about the many positive things that can be connected, the Orthodox Church grew, everybody connected to that. Beautiful facilities, beautiful places that are being built. There will be monuments that will be, he has something to do with that. He was part of that process. And the economy of a country that at some point was decimated, that, again, talking about producing multi-billionaires, you know what I mean? When the term oligarch, which can only be applied to people that have billions, is as a result of what this man has done. So the fact that right now he's playing these games, he's putting at risk his own legacy.
He's gonna read Patrick's book.
That's funny.
He's got to choose his enemies
choose
wisely.
your enemies wisely, right? But
I feel like though in his brain, and this is just me thinking as a Russian, right? in his brain,
That's Bedania.
yeah, right? This is if anything, this is like one of the biggest things for his legacy, because as the enemy of the opposite, like you don't look at them like they're the good guys. So in his story, we're not the good guys in the story. So for him to find a way to disrupt what's going on with us or put us in a worse position, that's a win. That's a win. You get what I'm saying? And then if he feels like, well, I remember America used to be this great country, but now, shoot, they got a bunch of crazy stuff going. So for me to now put them in a worse, that's the best thing for the planet. You get what I'm saying?
What do we think would be the flip side, the opposite side? Really, the opposite side of doing something like that. That would have helped, and in many cases, cement his legacy. Because prior to that, my argument was history is going to have no choice but to say, what a remarkable job this guy did for his country, for his people. Talking about nationalistic approach to Russia first, and people talking about history is going to have to be kind to this guy. Not so much right now. The jury's still out.
Yeah.
But here's the one thing that he couldn't have done. You are too connected and sold out to your relationship with the United States. And therefore, anything that comes from the United States is already rejected from everybody. Hamas, you are too connected to the extreme right wing of the arm of Islam that is dying for martyrdom. They don't care how many people die, but that's not a good way. It's not going to lead to anywhere. No. Let me step in. Allow me to be a mediator, even though I'm fighting my own war. I'm fighting my own war. But give me the opportunity to step in and see if we can find a reasonable, rational way out. Yeah. That means that, and by the way, Israel would have hated that even more than this absolute statement.
Correct.
Because, you know what I mean? Because now it's like, man, now you're coming with this moral position. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's like,
and I just want to blow shit up.
I have no choice. These crazy statements that just opens the door. You know what? Before this guy actually decides to step in, let's blow even more. Let's
I get you.
So it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I get it. I feel like right now his whole thought, like if I'm in the middle of war as we speak, that's not on my brain. That's way too rational. That's way too like I sat down and had good thoughts. No, not right now. I can't. But I get it. I agree that could have been good.
Buddy, just give me a quick call. I need to help you.
Perfect Russian.
I need to help you with your PR, my friend. Your PR team is not helping you right now. So anyway, let's get out of this darkness that's going on in that area right now.
True.
So Speaker of the House, what's the whole issue with, you know what I mean? It's like, isn't the country right now paycheck to paycheck? Yeah. Why is everybody like looking down on the guy for not having, he didn't come from a wealthy family. He went through school, made it his business has had a pretty remarkable political career for a guy. Talking about going, all the way up to the Speaker of the House. You're the third guy online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To become the president of the country. Yeah. And that is the worst criticism that we can apply to this guy. But by the way, if that is the worst as a criticism to criticize Mike Johnson, that he's going to have to sleep in his office and his paycheck to pay. If that is the worst, then we are in good shape.
Yeah. Well, I have a question though. Is this maybe news media trying to humanize him a little bit?
Well, there's both sides
because
to it.
He came in and he was like very, MAGA, Christian, against the gays, against all of this stuff. So these leagues,
To be quite honest with you,
hey, this dude is struggling paycheck to paycheck, poor little guy, pobrecito.
his first speech to Congress, to me, it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
He spoke clearly. That's already good enough because he spoke with enough clarity to be able to. I'm actually understanding this guy, opposed to. I mean, the two front runners that we have right now, leading the communications in the country, sound worse than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now you have a guy who is,
Wait, you don't
is
think
articulating.
Trump doesn't sound good?
My voice sometimes gets a little, it's just,
Yeah.
you know.
I got mixed feelings about this whole thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Go ahead, talk to me.
So I think it's noble. I think it's awesome when you can see somebody, even if you're like, it's a great story to tell, which is why I'm thinking it's just a story to tell. Like, to see
It's
that
a great
somebody,
presidential.
yeah, if somebody, they came from where you came from, and look at them now.
One of us.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to see that. No, that's like you telling me, right? If I'm 20 pounds overweight and I get a personal trainer, well, he's just as fat as you are, so now you guys can relate. No, I don't want to see that. I want to see somebody who's excelled in multiple areas, business being one of them. I don't want to see the person who's making decisions where you got to worry about how your lights are gonna stay.
What would
on.
be your
no?
fear
I don't like it.
that is
I don't like it.
easier to influence? That is somebody that can be
Not even that.
easily bought out.
For
That it
me,
can be,
I mean, that's the
I mean, that's the reason why Ron DeSantis, as much as I like him, he doesn't have as much money as Trump. You know what I mean? So it's like for him at this very moment, I know that. Like, I mean, I just watched the interview that he did with what's his name,
Patrick,
with Patrick, and he's like America first and all that stuff, and so I'm like, he seems like he's sold out to the country. There's a lot of money at stake when Soros comes in and says, "Hey, buddy, here's a couple $1 billion into your account." So I get concerned whenever a politician doesn't have enough money of their own, and so they become a Pelosi, they become a Bernie Sanders, they become a soon to be AOC, like all of these guys that are making their money from politics versus being established business people. So I'm cool with him sleeping whatever the hell he wants to sleep.
But by the way,
I
it's not a new practice. You have a lot of people that listen. The highest rent per capita is in DC. Like rental. You got it's almost like Japan at this point. Like you're renting something that looks almost like a casket. You know what I mean? And you're paying $10,000. You open the door, you go in, you sleep, you come out, community
I'm
shower.
just practicing.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like, and you're paying $10,000 for that. It's horrible. I get it. You know what I mean? But to your point, you know what I mean? When you see somebody, Nancy Pelosi, you say, by the way, listen, Bernie Sanders, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't care all this crap about socialism. This is a wealthy guy. This is somebody who's worth $300+ million.
Stop talking about millionaires and start talking about billionaires.
I love
because
when
he
somebody
is a
who's
millionaire.
that wealthy keeps complaining about wealth. And listen, if you don't, why don't you give it back? Why don't you give it back? Why don't you pay a little more taxes? But I do get to be, listen, that's the whole argument with Vivek, right? It's saying people that don't have their own finance are supposed to be very easily influenced. But that is only if your own personal moral foundation is not strong enough. And so far, you know what I mean, everything I see from what the guy is saying sounds like it's somebody that is precisely there because he's not playing that game.
Yeah, I get you.
You know what I mean?
Respect to him if that's the case.
yeah,
We'll see 20 years
that
from
appears,
now.
that's my
And
point.
I'm having,
If 10 years from
I
now,
hope he
15 years
stays
from
there.
now, he's running for president and he's got to disclose the fact that now he's worth $250 million, then we have some
something
questions.
let me just say
to
this
ask.
too. I think there's a big difference in my brain from living paycheck to paycheck versus being broke. Right?
Correct.
So you could be a millionaire and still live paycheck to paycheck.
That's true.
Which to me, that is worse than just being broke. Because if
bad steward to money.
correct, that's what I'm saying. So like if he's making millions and still don't know how to manage that, I don't want this person to be in a position to make decisions. But if he just hasn't found a way to come up and he's broke, then that's a little different versus I have it and I don't know what I'm doing with it. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't know which one it is when they say he's living paycheck to paycheck. If he's just never made over $1 million, or no, he's making millions, but this guy is
that's
like,
not
you get what I'm saying? So
think
so
that's
there's a difference between the two. Either way, I don't like it. I think that some people were I guess using it as a way to where he's more relatable. I don't know. I don't wanna hear
Anyway,
none of it.
Speaker Johnson, I
Yeah.
hope that you have a very comfy couch in your sofa. As entrepreneurs,
Correct,
we
correct.
all have slept in our office
True,
one
true,
time
true,
or
true.
another.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not a big deal. If you are that guy, I hope that you don't get bought. And 10, 20 years from now, we can see you. Maybe you sell a couple books, and that's
And,
how you
and
make
that is
money.
There you
ultimately
go.
the point.
There you
Right? I
go.
mean,
That's true.
the point is that you can only address these things from again, fear of that
Yeah.
legitimate. So that's a legitimate fear. But you can only hope that somebody's going to take this and do something special with it and do the right thing with it, and become an example for people to say, hey, from nothing to,
Correct.
right?
I like it.
What you want is you want the most capable person to be in a position like that.
Yes.
No different than you want the most capable person to be the president of a country.
Correct.
So how it's scary, right? The examples that we're getting right now
Yeah.
is not necessarily the best. If either the best politician, but who is horrible when it comes to understanding and real life money, anything dealing with financial things,
So that's
or
the
is somebody who absolutely understands money but don't know how to navigate the political game,
need
right?
both.
So you need a little bit of both.
I got you.
You got somebody. You need somebody who knows how to navigate these situations, but at the same time they understand money. Hopefully, we'll see, man.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's still early,
I
yeah.
just, to me, it was just amusing to see that, like, all over the place. Like, paycheck to paycheck. Like, who's complaining that? What? But the concern, absolutely, only time will tell. You know what I mean? See where the whole thing goes. But anyway, guys. So, what do you think is happening with black voters in Milwaukee? You know, is that? By the way, will
I
you?
don't think it's
Will
Milwaukee
you
alone.
say that is that? That was my
Yeah,
question.
correct.
Do you think that that's just Milwaukee,
No.
or is this like? Can we say that nationwide, anybody who's willing to have an honest conversation have to come to the conclusion? Look where we are, man. Look at,
Yeah.
I mean, look at interest rate. Look what's going on housing market, stock market.
Gas.
Look at the gas prices, supermarket. For the first time, I'm going to the supermarket, and you have so many items that are out of stock. What do you mean out of stock? That's what happens in Honduras. You go to the supermarket, and there's so many things that you're not literally expecting to find.
Yeah.
Like it's like you showed up and like, oh wow, they got it.
I
Let me
have
take
this,
it.
this,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Whichever one of the three I find, I'm happy.
And the consistency of a market, right? You know that you're in a healthy market, production is going well. When you walk into a place and there is certainty of production, like you walk into the place and you're not second guessing
Yeah.
if you're gonna find it or not. It's there. It's gonna be there waiting for you, and that's already happening. Like everybody's still saying, well, we still haven't been able to recover from, like, so many things that are wrong, and in the middle of two wars, probably three soon. There's a lot of people saying, "Wait a minute, this is not an economy that's working for
Yeah.
me."
So I'm not
As
gonna
the
lie.
black representative.
Yeah.
So here-
We're looking at you as the
So
official.
here's the first thing I think of is this: is Milwaukee. Do you get what I'm saying? So
Okay.
they didn't say black voters in Georgia or in
Yeah.
New York, or you get what I'm saying. So then I'm not saying anything
He's
is wrong.
saying
with
there's
Mo-
too many white people in
Yeah,
here.
kind of. You know, so what I'm saying is, to me, that's
I
not
translate.
enough.
Have they been influenced by the white people?
I
to
think
make
so.
statements
Yeah.
like that?
Maybe
So what I'm
translate.
saying is this. So for me, I'm always thinking of, unfortunately, most people. It's not just black people, but just most people in general. I don't think they pay enough to the details, right? And then so just because a few people in Milwaukee decided to do that, I don't think that's the majority yet. You know. So then what am I saying? I think most black people, they're still gonna vote for whoever the Democratic person is. Why? Because you're supposed to. If you're black, you're Democrat. You know this. Do you get what I'm not, by the way. but that's what they. I'm
We
being
don't-
serious.
we really
I'm
don't
being
have
serious.
it.
So and it's like, so most people still will fall into whatever
Yeah.
the stereotypes will be. I don't think it's enough yet. Unfortunately, it should be enough, but it's not. So if they would have told me a different place, I would have said, yeah. this
Well,
is good.
I mean,
Not
I
Milwaukee,
was. Where was the rally? Whenever they were doing, they were booking Trump in Georgia. There was a guy and he went viral about, and they said like blacks for Trump.
Yeah.
So you see that more and more often.
True.
happening right now. Here's the one thing that I have, because I speak to people, and for me it's baffling how people do not vote.
Yeah.
And so especially the black community becomes very apathetic when it comes to what's it gonna make a difference, how does my vote will even measure up. So here's what I hope. I hope that people in general do not lose faith in the system to a point where they actually decide to be apathetic and not do anything about it. What I do hope is that you get pissed off enough about whatever is happening, because the conversations that we're having about Israel, the conversations that we're having about Russia and Ukraine, and the conversations that we're having about even whatever's happening here, gas prices, eggs, all of these different things is directly correlated to who's in the White House. And how the country is being run. Because if we're in a weak position, guess what? People take advantage of that. Yeah. So my biggest hope for this is that more than anything else is not seeing the uninspired and potentially not motivated to vote for President Biden. I want to see inspired and motivated to vote for somebody else. Got it. So that's my hope.
They might just not vote at all.
Exactly. And so my hope is please don't be apathetic. Please actually go take action. If you're pissed off enough to be like, I'm done with these guys, then not voting is essentially voting for the same people. We need more people actually saying, let's make decisions a little bit differently. Yeah. Let's give the lesser of two evils, because I'm not 100% on the whole Trump vote in this case, but shit is better than, it's way better than what we have going on right now.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So we're struggling as a country right now. I think we have a very great opportunity to turn it around and really make a run.
But this is just highlighting how much of a language issue Republicans have.
Yeah.
Even going into the last election, when everybody was talking about the red wave that was coming, that was more like a little pinkish, you know what I mean? Not much of anything that took place. And so, they got to learn to communicate better with the. But by the way, today, the Republican is becoming the blue-collar individual. It's no longer the wealthy elite. That is the Democrat that today controls most of the education systems. Most of the biggest facilities are run by elite Democrats, wealthy Democrats, right? So the whole argument that Republicans are for the wealthy is little by little being dismantled. You know what I mean?
Straight up like the Hunger Games.
Yeah. So
I promise you, it's like the more and more. It's like holy.
Not so sure that much about the reference. I
gotta rewatch it.
But anyway, listen. I think that this will connect to.
Think about it. Hang on. I'll go back to that. It's like because you're saying something that is super important, but it's the Democrat voters are struggling, right? So they are the popular, like the little girl with the arrow, whatever the hell the game is, right?
Yeah.
But the ones that they're voting for are the dudes that have the food, that are the wealthy, that are so they're putting the rules in place.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't know.
I got you.
I literally felt.
I got it.
I knew it was gonna be a bad analogy.
It went from bad to worse. I gotta watch the fucking movie.
I got it.
Right, but it's just that. It's like you keep on voting for the people that are putting you in the worst position.
Correct. Yeah.
Versus it being like.
That's part of the setup.
Yeah. I think that that has been in place for many generations. Like you're saying, the expectation that if you sound one way, if you look one way, you're supposed to be voting for. You're part of that voting black.
Correct.
And that's precisely what the term comes
black
from,
or
right?
black?
Yeah,
God bless you.
Black and black. You know what I mean? And so, but what I'm saying to you is, listen. I think that there's going to be some changes. There's going to be an evolution. I think that this whole thing, even with immigration, eventually is going to backfire to a lot of Democrats that are assuming that everybody is coming in is just looking for free stuff and is looking. You absolutely have some people that are coming to work. They believe in family. They believe in earning. They eventually they do happen to be a lot more conservative in thinking they got to be careful. It's a game where it can truly backfire on that. Who knows? But anyway, guys.
Free stuff is not free, guys.
That's true.
With that being said, listen, I don't even want to spend too much time on this whole thing because, to be quite honest with you, the whole issue of FTX and crypto, and you look at this guy wearing literally pajamas, you know what I mean, on middle of
A trial.
not even a trial. I mean, when he wasn't at this point, when he was still raising capital or pretending to be running a company that could have been something very unique and very special, and you see these conferences, right? And everybody's wearing, this $2,000 suit and people are at least business dress. The guy is sitting there, you know what I mean, he's looking like he just came out of bed. And somehow that was supposed to be trending. It was supposed to be representing that new economy that was coming up. That was supposed to be.
I don't like it.
And you go, why am I not surprised? Why is anybody surprised that a guy that not only looked like that, but said certain things that at some point you gotta go like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're making predictions about certain aspects of the economy that are so new that we don't have anything in recorded history to use it as a reference. So is anybody surprised that this man has been found guilty of misappropriation, embezzling billions of dollars? That's just, it's just a reminder how so many people are hoping for, like hopefully I'll be that guy that's gonna, make that one investment. And hopefully this is the next Jeff Bezos that we gave $1 million to that now is worth, $1.5 billion.
But so playing to that, it's like, look at the way that Jeff Bezos look. Dresses,
You mean the old Jeff Bezos, not the UFC fighter looking Jeff Bezos today, you know what I mean?
Right. No, but even the old one,
buff,
it was like he looks like a business person.
He looked like
even I mean Zuckerberg and Musk, but that were like a T-shirt type of person. They still took the time to put themselves together. I don't know what this kid was. I never paid attention to crypto. I'm glad that it happened. It's like you also want to know who. Because when you're putting money into things like this, you're betting also on the CEO, on the person that's running the company.
Correct.
And so, shoot, man, do your freaking due diligence.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised about the amount of people and the amount of money that went in and said, hey, let's go put our money into the next best thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that this was the best guy to run that, to me, is just baffling.
Yeah. So I feel like all of crypto to me is kind of a scam. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like it's like, here's the thing. So imagine you come out with a drug, right? And it's like a legal drug, and the reason why the drug is legal is because no one knows what's in it, right? But you know that this is something that's not gonna last for forever. So then what happens is I think people, they are concerned about just getting rich by any means necessary. So I think everybody knew that most of crypto was a setup. But the problem is that if I can get rich, even if it's a setup, I'm going to do it. You get what I'm saying? Even if I know at some point in time the FDA is going to come in and shut this whole thing down, but for the next 6 months I can make $1 million, most people will take that opportunity.
It's like a performance enhancement.
Yeah, whatever it is.
The houses that are playing the role of exchanging, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, listen, crypto still is around. You know what I mean? Obviously, some of the craziness, the exuberance, right? The NFTs. Anybody selling any NFTs lately? You know what I mean? Just those things.
Yeah.
But you knew that it was going to be part of a process that was going to trickle down to. It's just that it has so many options and so many places to go to. But definitely, it's going to introduce more regulation. It's going to introduce. I'm not concerned for the sophisticated investor that wants to gamble with their money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm concerned about how many people were in social media reaching out to the average person saying, this is going to be, you're going to be, you understand? And they lost everything that they absolutely have. You know what I mean? That's painful to watch. So for a guy like this To be quite honest with you, I have no sympathy whatsoever.
Yeah.
None.
I think
None.
they said he's
I think
he's
that
facing like
justice
110 years or something like
He's,
that. Yeah.
you know, whatever the case may be,
Okay.
you know what I mean. Listen,
He's probably gonna be
I'm
napping.
not wishing anything on anyone. I'm just saying, you know, this is if you know, and that's the ultimately. I mean, even you know, Robert Shapiro, that represented O.J. Simpson, you know what I mean, was saying, first of all, this is a guy that never kept his mouth shut, just kept talking. I've been talking and talking about things that just got him into more trouble all throughout the whole process. But for me, a guy like that, you have to pay a price for everything that was done. And I don't know what that. I don't know what fairness is. Whether it's 100 years or
Yeah, I think it's a little extreme. But
you know what I mean.
you know what he was doing.
But I more than anything else, I hope that some of the losses that happen to be involved, you know what I mean, especially with small people, that they will have the ability to recover those monies. That's all it is. Anyway, guys, final thing here is that good news for us in the state of Florida. We're gonna have a brand new, phenomenal neighbor. You know what I mean? Buying a $68 million property. Not a lot of people have the ability to make that kind of purchase going into the Miami area because he's becoming a Miami type of guy. Mr. Jeff Bezos, again, UFC buff looking type of guy who's out there. Definitely not the one who started selling books. Today is the guy who can sell. He can sell
Your
you.
mom. I was gonna say, I'm like.
Now a lot of people
prostitution.
a lot of people are already criticizing the reasons, but
Yes.
are you ready for this? He already made
Yes.
it clear.
Yes.
There's a very legitimate reason why he's moving to that area. His mom is around there.
Oh.
His mother is around there.
Yeah, that's why you go to Miami.
It's just a phenomenal son. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's just a good son.
Yes,
If
I
he
get it.
takes
Go
his shirt
there.
off, he has a tattoo
You know.
that says "mom." on his
Mom,
arm.
you know what I mean? So he just want to be closer to mom. You know what I mean? I'm sure it has nothing to do with.
Did he send mom there a week earlier?
What comes
Is that?
Mom, you're moving to Florida.
you buy the little house that's like
Yeah,
20 blocks
that's
away,
funny.
and then I'll buy the mansion
Either
by the
way,
water.
I don't mind. More people come to Florida. We'll take it.
money.
No, the reality is, mom is a phenomenal reason. The obscene
Good job,
amount
Jeff
of
Bezos.
state taxes that you are paying in California will immediately disappear. For a guy like that, just think about that, right? That is coming to a place where there is no federal taxes. I mean, no federal taxes, no state
No
taxes.
state taxes.
Federal, yes.
Or
Federal, yes.
city.
That's not there,
Or
yes.
city taxes.
You know how much money this guy's going to be saving?
A lot.
A lot
He's
of
gonna
money.
become a quadrillionaire.
So if he was ever grateful
Quadrillionaire.
for having a mom who
Yes.
decided to, this is the time
He's
when
gonna
it's
be,
like,
thanks, Ma.
but I don't care whatever reason, I'm just extremely happy that the marketplace
Yes.
is dictating where it's a good idea for somebody. Let's let
Another black guy for
capitalism,
Newsom,
that's it.
and another
My
win
boy,
for
I don't know how he's gonna be running.
another L for Newsom.
He lost Shapiro, he lost Musk, he's losing Bezos. I don't know, it's just a matter of time before your boy Zuckerberg says, and I have no choice, Here's your guy. Guys, anything that you wanna,
Fun
final
fact,
thoughts on it? Yes.
I was just in Pennsylvania, and I did not know this. So people in Pennsylvania pay federal taxes,
Mm-hmm.
they pay state taxes, and they pay city taxes.
Yes.
Here's the crazy thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this. I don't know if you guys knew this. If you work in a city but live in another, you pay taxes for both cities.
Double tax.
That is insane. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was just crazy.
Well,
Taxes on
listen,
taxes.
it is individuals like this, you know what I mean, that paid 50% of all taxes, it's the 3% of the population. 1% pays already half of, you know, and 50% of the people, 50% of the country is the only group of people that are paying taxes. So when everybody goes around talking about fair share and having this conversation, we have half of the country is carrying the other half of the country. That's a lot.
1% of the country
Carries
is
half
carrying
of the country.
half of the entire amount of taxes that are being paid.
My point to you is, 1% carries half of the taxes that are being paid, but that 50% carries all of the taxes that are being paid, which means that they carry half of the country that doesn't pay anything whatsoever.
That's true.
And that's a big number to carry. If you were saying 30% of the country, 25% of the country doesn't pay taxes, Yeah, that's that. When you're already 50-50,
That's crazy.
started to sound like Cuba. Hey, what's going on with Venezuela before we get out of here?
What's going on with Venezuela?
What's happening? They're gonna have elections, or they're not gonna have
You know
elections?
what?
Are you
I'm
not
excited
following up?
about
Or
Maria. I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'm concerned that this
why?
lady's gonna get a bullet one of these
She's-
days.
Yeah, I mean,
High risk.
she's got high security, and she's a person that has a lot of money.
Wasn't she
And,
disqualified already for?
They made her that she cannot run, but somehow people are still voting for her. So, so this is exciting. She got herself in the
That's
ballot.
funny.
I still have hope, like very deep inside of me. I'm like, man, is this gonna be? Because she fits that. I don't need the money. I cannot be bought. Unlike the other two guys that did something that didn't do anything, they were bought.
Correct.
Her safety is definitely a concern. I'm hopeful. She's been at this fight for God knows how long. She's put her family on the line as far as their relationship with her children and stuff like that. This is not a new person that just popped up out of nowhere. She's been calling out Chavez.
The consistency of her message goes back to
2000
being with Chavez,
like,
arguing against
Yeah.
Chavez. I mean, it's very, very
2012,
clear that
2006. Yeah.
but it really is. I mean, this is one of those moments where, again, you're not going against the person. You're going against a system that has
Yeah.
been institutionalized. Venezuela today, you're talking about the
When they talk about the
presidential environment.
establishment
they're
here,
talking about
it's like
this is the ultimate.
the ultimate. It's one person against an army.
Worse than that,
What's
including,
happening.
well, talking about the army, including the army.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you're going against everybody. Because
Yeah.
right now in Honduras, we're about to be facing kind of like the same scenario that we had with President Zelaya. This guy at some point was pushing for something very similar to Venezuela. The army went, picked him up from the house, pajamas in the middle of the night, presidential house, right? Pajamas in the middle of the night, put him in a plane, and took him out of the country.
Wow.
Right? Guess what? How many years later? I don't even know how many years later. His wife is president of the country. She's pushing for the exact same scenario.
Yeah.
So we're saying, I don't know if they remember that movie, but I think we are about to watch this because the armies, even though they make some adjustments, they learn a little bit from that lesson. But you still have the army as the last resource, right?
Not
That
here.
you can
Not
go
in my
to.
country.
Here, this is
Nope.
every layer when you're
Yeah.
talking about so I do hope I'm watching what's going on with
Yeah.
the stuff and we hopefully we can
Prayers.
talk about it at a deeper level. If I think it should be a little healthy at this point to just provide a breakdown of what has been the
Yeah, we
history
can
of
do
that and going to there, but let's see what happens. Anyway, any final messages? Yes.
Biggest thing, we said it probably 100 times. I'll say it, 101 times. Entrepreneurship is the key to everything, and when I say the key to everything, I mean for you to find the key for yourself is you gotta not only think of yourself as an entrepreneur, but as a business owner. Find ways to dictate your own economy. I'm not the type of person who's gonna wait on the government, who's gonna wait on my boss, who's gonna wait on none of those things, right? So you gotta find a way to take control of your situation. That's gonna put you in the best position, regardless of what's going on with real estate, what's going on with Russia. If you put yourself in a more powerful position, you have options. So that to me is always the key that everybody has to be thinking about.
Awesome. For me, Bezos making a move here, Messi making a move here, and a bunch of people making a move to the state of Florida. Is success leaves clues. And so, by the way, there's this thing called the Messi experience that I cannot wait. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to be in line to see the Messi experience. It's so awesome. There's going to be down in Miami. Don't ask me what it is, but I went to see Shamu. I'll go see Messi. But anyway, success leaves clues. And it's that all of these guys are moving here. All of these big players are moving to the state. There's a reason why, and so pay attention to that. Be aware. More than anything else, like freaking going to Pennsylvania opened up my eyes a lot because a lot of people take a lot of bullying. From taxes, from all of the different things, it's less expensive over there to buy certain things, but not by a lot, especially with the amount of taxes that they're paying. So do not be apathetic when it comes to learning these things. Again, we have elections happening, like local elections happening right now. And then we have a big election season coming up in the next year. So do not be waiting. Do not be passive about your process. You have to be active on your own rescue, even making the decisions whether you're going to be staying at the place that you're at with your family. Just be aware of the decisions that you're making. And there is a reason why successful people are moving to certain key areas. And I would really pay attention to that. So that's my message.
Let me tell you, and I want to connect it to what the two of you are actually saying right now. Unfortunately, many people either lack the motivation or they just don't have the desire to. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want these troubles to be in my head. I don't even want to think about these things. I want no part of it. And that's a very unfortunate situation because you essentially are saying I'm refusing to improve my position because just I'm not willing to get out of my comfort zone, which is extremely dangerous. So for a message like the one you are putting forward and the message you are putting forward, we have to say that this really is only for a few people that do pay attention, that are really understanding there are external and internal forces that you have to pay attention, and that you have the ability to also improve your position. Just prepare a little better. Don't wait until trouble, arrives to your door, so that you can absolutely find a way to fix it and to overcome it. By not doing anything, which is the worst thing you can do, especially again, I'm talking to not to everybody, just to the people that do want to pay attention. They listen to what you said and listen to what you said, and they are really saying, "Man, yeah, that makes sense. Should I do something?" Yes, you need to do something. Don't wait until things gets worse. There's a lot of information that have to be processed. We just want to give you a perspective from, again, real life and some of the things that we've been through ourselves, so that hopefully you'll have the right motivation. Like we can really, unlike a politician that gets in front of a camera and says, "I know exactly how you feel." We can literally say, "I know exactly how you feel," right?
And Mike Johnson.
So, man, and along with the Speaker of the House. But with that being said, listen, I'm dying to hear your perspective about how any of these things can absolutely affect you.
Yes.
If you like the information, share it, pass it around.
Comment,
Subscribe to the
Find it
channel.
out in the comments.
Get a few more friends to come on board.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you in our next conversation.
There you
Thank
go.
you. Peace out.